Welcome back to our channel, friends. We always cherish these moments with you, unpacking the emotional journeys of the characters we have grown to love over the years. Thank you for joining us as we dive into a story of love, family, and complicated choices. When I sit back and really think about the journey Michael Corinthos and Willow Kane have been on, I cannot help but feel a deep sense of emotional attachment. It feels like we have watched them weather every possible storm, from heartbreaking losses to joyous family moments, only to see them torn apart by secrets and betrayals. Recently, the whispers and hints dropping on General Hospital have pointed toward a long-term plan that has my heart beating just a little bit faster. There is a very real, very powerful sense that the writers are slowly but surely laying the groundwork for Michael and Willow to find their way back to one another. True love, especially the kind that has been fractured by deep wounds, requires time to heal. But the signs are there, and they are absolutely beautiful to witness. The turning point that really caught my attention happened during the episode that aired on August the 10th. It was one of those gripping, edge-of-your-seat hours of television that reminds me exactly why I have loved this show for so long. The situation with Jacinda Bracken taking it upon herself to drug Willow's drink was nothing short of terrifying. As a viewer, my heart was in my throat watching Willow in such a vulnerable, compromised state. But what truly moved me to my core was Michael's immediate, instinctual reaction. The moment he realized something was wrong, he did not hesitate. He did not stop to think about the bitter custody battle they have been locked in or the anger that has clouded their recent interactions. His only thought was for her safety. I could feel the sheer panic radiating from Michael as he rushed to her side. The fear that Willow might try to handle her work calls in that state, or worse, that she might get behind the wheel of a car and drive off into danger, was palpable. It was a stark reminder that beneath all the legal fights and the harsh words, the protective bond he feels for the mother of his children remains completely unbroken. When push comes to shove, Michael is a man who fiercely protects his family. Seeing him step up to ensure that both Willow and their children were safe from harm brought tears to my eyes. It is in these moments of crisis that true character is revealed. What I found especially touching was how the show leaned so heavily into the importance of family during this crisis. The writers brilliantly used this terrifying situation to highlight the everyday, grounding realities of parenting. When Michael realized that their family plans had been derailed by Jacinda's cruel actions, he made a heartfelt promise to make up for the missed arcade trip. He committed to doing something special together as a family once the dust settled. That gentle reassurance, that promise of a brighter tomorrow for the sake of the children, resonated deeply with me. It is exactly the kind of steadfast fatherhood that makes Michael such a compelling character. Then came those quiet, private scenes between Michael and Willow, and they were just pure magic. Because Willow was under the influence of the drug, her usual defenses were completely stripped away. The walls she had built up to protect her heart during their separation came tumbling down, leaving behind a profound softness. It was as if the drug, in a strange and twisted way, allowed her to simply be present without the heavy burden of their recent history. I could see it in Michael's eyes. He was looking at the woman he first fell in love with. The anger and the betrayal faded into the background, replaced by a tender nostalgia that was impossible to ignore. There is something so incredibly moving about the simple, quiet act of tucking a blanket around someone you care about. When Michael gently draped that blanket over Willow as she rested on the sofa, it was not just a practical gesture to keep her warm. It was a profound symbol of protection, a silent promise that he was there to watch over her when she was at her most vulnerable. I loved how much Willow leaned into that tenderness. In her softened state, she did not fight his care, she welcomed it. She soaked in the comfort of his presence, and it was a beautiful reminder of the deep, natural comfort they have always found in one another's arms. The tone of Michael's voice in that scene was something I will not soon forget. For months, we have heard him speak to Willow with frustration, hurt, and sometimes downright coldness. But as he sat beside her on that sofa, his voice took on a sweetness and a warmth that had been missing for far too long. It was the voice of a man speaking to his soulmate. Hearing that gentle tone again clearly struck a chord with Willow, and the two of them naturally drifted into reminiscing about the times when they were happy and harmonious. Listening to them share those fond memories felt like a soothing balm over the painful wounds of their recent past. It gave me so much hope that their history is strong enough to overcome their current trials. I have to take a moment to talk about the incredible chemistry between Willow and this version of Michael, portrayed so wonderfully by Rory Gibson. From the moment Gibson stepped into the role, he brought a fresh, vibrant energy. However, because of the heavy storylines involving Willow's complicated relationship with Drew Kane and the heartbreaking custody dispute, the show never truly had the breathing room to explore the romantic chemistry between this specific pairing. They were always fighting, always at odds, always dealing with external chaos. But in these quiet, drugged moments on the sofa, the undeniable spark between them was finally allowed to shine brightly. The episode that followed on August the 11th only poured more fuel on the fire of my hopes for their reunion. The tension between them was so thick you could cut it with a knife. There were moments where Willow, still hazy and uninhibited from the drug Jacinda gave her, looked at Michael with such longing that I thought she was actually going to lean in and kiss him. My heart was pounding, willing it to happen. It would have been incredibly dramatic and thrilling if she had crossed that line. But in a move that I actually think was incredibly smart, the writers chose to pull back. They held off on that kiss, and while a part of me was screaming at the television, I know deep down that it was the right choice. By restraining themselves and not rushing into a physical reunion, the writers are giving this story the dignity and the slow burn it truly deserved. A kiss in that moment, while Willow was not in her right mind, would have been complicated and perhaps regrettable in the morning. Instead, we are left with the lingering memory of what almost was a tantalizing glimpse of the passion that still simmers just beneath the surface. It is abundantly clear to anyone watching that Michael and Willow belong together. Their pieces just fit. I am fully convinced that these subtle hints are going to lead to some incredibly passionate, sweep you off your feet romantic moments in the future when the time is truly right. Of course, in true soap opera fashion, the road to happily ever after is never a straight line, and there are massive storm clouds gathering on the horizon. The reality of their situation is that a romantic reunion is not going to happen tomorrow. The scandal surrounding Jacinda Bracken's drugging incident is about to blow their custody battle wide open all over again. The stakes are higher than ever, and the legal fight for their children is going to bring out the absolute worst in the people around them. It is heartbreaking to know that just as they shared this beautiful, tender connection, the harsh reality of their legal war is going to come crashing down on their heads once more. What makes this upcoming battle even more intense is the arsenal of secrets waiting to be unleashed. I was stunned to realize how the pieces are falling into place, with Kai Taylor and Trina Robinson stepping up to help Michael. They are holding on to a massive, explosive piece of information: the fact that Willow was the one who shot Drew. Knowing that Kai and Trina are aware of this dark truth and are willing to use it to help Michael confront Willow changes the entire landscape of their fight. It adds a layer of danger and betrayal that is going to be incredibly difficult for Willow to navigate. I can only imagine how Michael will handle the revelation of such a massive secret being used as ammunition in a court of law. As if the custody battle and the dark secrets were not enough, we also have to talk about the meddling mothers. The dynamic between Carly and Nina has always been explosive, but seeing them both actively working to prevent Willow and Michael from reuniting is a fascinating, frustrating twist. It is almost comical in a tragic way that these two women, who despise each other so deeply, are essentially on the same side when it comes to keeping this couple apart. Their interference is becoming a new kind of obsession, a desperate attempt to control their children's lives. I find myself wishing Carly and Nina would just step back and let Michael and Willow figure out their own hearts without all this toxic outside influence. Despite all the chaos that has already happened and the absolute hurricane of drama that is heading their way, my faith in Michael and Willow remains unshaken, and I know I am not alone in this feeling. The social media world is absolutely buzzing with fans who are just as invested in this love story as I am. Everywhere I look, viewers are sharing their predictions, their hopes, and their deep-seated belief that the genuine connection between Michael and Willow will ultimately conquer all these obstacles. There is a collective yearning among the audience to see this family put back together, to see true love win out over the secrets and the lies. The journey ahead for Michael and Willow is undeniably going to be bumpy. They have mountains to climb and deep wounds to heal. The custody battle will test their resolve, the truth about Drew will test their trust, and Carly and Nina will test their patience. But the seeds have been planted. The writers of General Hospital have beautifully and carefully laid the foundation for a deeply emotional, hard-fought reunion. Those quiet moments on the sofa, the gentle tucking of a blanket, the sweetness of a familiar voice, those are the things that build a lasting love. I, for one, will be watching every single day, eagerly waiting for the moment when Michael and Willow finally realize that they are, and always have been, each other's true home.